Alrighty, good morning and happy Monday. I am pretty much all set up here. Nothing too crazy on my end here this morning. Hopefully everyone else's morning is going smoothly enough, if not better than smoothly. I just know, oh hey, I've got something to show when we start up. Cool. Bu- 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 Let's get started, shall we? Just popping one thing over and we are good. All right. Hey, Hamiltons. How's your weekend? Just starting off here. Gonna look at some ArtStation stuff as usual. Just peek through some cool looking art, see what everyone's been up to, anything cool new the past few days. Um, as usual, I need to vet them because going through ArtStation, sometimes you get some pretty NSFW things. So looks like we've got a handful to take a peek at, and we'll look at them together. Nice. Good morning. Speakers are muted for a work meeting, but should hear my beautiful voice soon. All right. Well, let's take a peek. Let's start and let's get looking at some cool art, right? So the first thing, as usual, I pulled up five things, and we see what's cool. This one got my eye again because I'm a sucker for green. There's something about the greens and the golds that really get me excited. Um, and again, look at this. We got a character exploration, which is always fun, always my jam. Um, I like the different types of the head can appear on the shoulder, right? So you see this design motif reflected in the shoulder, reflected in the shoulder, obviously reflected in the shoulder, and then reflected in the shoulder. That's smart. That's clean. And even in the gauntlets too, which is really neat to see. I love that. Very cool piece. I like this. I like what he ended with. This more like lion's mane for the shoulder. It's pretty clean. Highhound Studios. Whoa. I don't know what all these things are for, but I like them. And they did My Hero stuff. I like them even more. Oh, they did the trading card game stuff. Cool. Is it in here? No, I've got some My Hero behind me posters. I've got some Deku up there. I've got Bakugo. I actually have a thing with Endeavor. I think I've got the cover of one of the mangas framed up on the wall in the office. Man, they do some dope stuff. Really cool, clean designs. I like it. Got one more of these because these are cool. These for something. The Warform Stormweaver series. This is a comic book then? Or is it just a book that they're weird? It's like a visual novel thing. Cool. More exploration to see how the weapons would impact the helmet, would impact the wings. Smart, 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 smart. So this one I'm assuming is a translation thing, given what its name is. For those that can read it, inappropriate for here. But I mean, it stands for just like a chicken, a male chicken monster. It says basically. It's a mailbox. The prototype is a chicken head mailbox. You will send the invitation to each child's dreams, guide everyone to various places. Will also explain the publicity. Again, some translation. issues usually abound, but this is kind of horrifying. I don't know if it's supposed to be playful, but that broom made of hands, cool but creepy as hell. Feels very like Miyazaki in a way. I like it a little bit. I mean, the boy in the hair, it looks Ghibli right there. Yeah, for sure, 100%. The drippy of the spit. Something about this just grosses me the heck out. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. I think it's playful. It's cute, but it grosses me out. Let's see more. I'm already following her. That makes sense. This stuff looks familiar. Like the vibes. Ooh, she pulls what I do. The lazy man's way of just outlining them with a shape. I do that way too much. It's too easy. It just it looks good. Well, I would give her a follow. Too late. Already am. The proportions got me with this. How big the head, like how big the body and arms and hands were in this little head, just looking with like almost dead eyes. I like these. I like these super basic shapes for those. Can't go wrong with an animal in a robot. Can't. Perfection. I like the way that they do their hands. Like I like these like thick thumbs and like almost like what was the Everything Everywhere All at Once with what is it? Sausage fingers. Nice. Meeting over. Back to the fun stuff. I was just looking up. I was talking about this person's way of drawing hands, and I like it. I like that they're like pretty chunky, right? Big, chunky things generally. Like, and my brain, when I'm talking about these big, chunky fingers, especially here, went to hot dog hands from Everything Everywhere All at Once. Obviously, this is not the same, but that's exactly where my brain went. Now when I see hands that are like really chunky or have like a lot of just like basic shape like that, boom, hot dog hands. Such a good movie. I would say it's not even underrated. It won awards. It did amazing. 10 out of 10 that movie. Got a mix of stuff here looking at this person's stuff. Definitely swapping between different styles. Wonder if these are all for like different client work things. Never can tell when it's not a language I can read. Ooh. This though. Purples, like the Darksiders look, just purples and bone, right? Oh, I've already liked this at one point. From 5 years ago. That something about that kind of color on like that bone, like that like old ashen gray bone. This always looks good. Can't go wrong. There was a show looking at those mummies. Ooh, the way that I really like the painting style that they're doing here for all of these pieces. I wish I knew what this was for, some sort of game. But seeing mummies always reminds me like cool mummies because I feel like they're not, other than the Brendan Fraser movies. Like there was a show called Mummies Alive when I was younger, and yeah, 1997, and this was it was one that I wish went longer. It probably was like one of those things where it was like a season or something. But as a kid, you don't know how long a show is. You just know you like the show. Couldn't even really tell you what the premise was anymore. I just remember absolutely loving these like wicked like Egyptian designs. And of course, there was like some kid who was in the frame. But I had all these figures. I had all these toys. And I remember getting them like were we like, I don't know, we were like at the mall and it was at KB Toys and they had the whole set of them, but they were like really clearanced for some reason. Probably because the show probably only lasted a season then. I didn't care. I still was watching it on TV, just like this kid's watching his own things on TV. But like, I remember, oh, there we go. There we go. I remember getting these bad boys, just ripping them open. I remember my mom was like, fine, we can get them. That's really cheap. My mom was a sucker for deals just like me, so got to ride that train. Oh, is that a KB Toys? It looked like a KB Toys sticker even on that one. All right, enough gushing over Mummies Alive. I absolutely love this. Talk about something with these designs that could make like a cool like that with biker mice and all that stuff. Good times. Anyway, back to cool art. Anyway, this is what inspired it. Man, mummies are cool. All right. This is fitting because today I wanted to draw Psylocke. So I saw pretty girl sword and I went, ooh, I'm gonna do something like that later. Mine will not look like this. As always, mine will look far more cartoony and chunky and thick lines. Though again, I've been trying to experiment and learn from it. It's hard, like we all have our way of making a mark, right? Like our natural way of putting down some sort of a pencil, pen, charcoal, marker, stylus for digital work here. And my brain always loves doing like thick, chunky comic book, heavy lines, doing dark, you know, inking in shadows, doing all that kind of stuff. So that's where my brain always goes. But then so when I see really thin line work, or almost no line work really with some of these things, or just super thin, that's one thing I'll need to one day in my list of things to practice. I think that should be pretty high up there, honestly. Learning to sell forms without the use of line weight, because my brain always wants to just be like, oh, thicken that line, let's fatten that bad boy up, right? But if you can't do it, you just got one line width. That's definitely whoa. That was like the most rendered face in all of these things. All of a sudden it threw me off. But yeah, I think that is a good test for me. Not this week. I got other plans, I think. Maybe. We'll see. But grabbing like a brush in Procreate where I don't have any line variety to it. There's no, no pressure to the curve. Just straight up flat line. That would be a good challenge for me. There's always like breaking what you normally do helps you get better. Any cool notifications? I did before I look at the last piece. I finally started updating the portfolio here. I need to like clump all of these old 3D things and just say old. like school portfolio kind of energy to post. Like from pretty much technically from here to here, but he was too, like from 7 or 8 years ago. But yeah, I need to still clean it up, but at least got it like mirroring my other socials, same face, same pictures, got all the information on there and stuff now. So figured since I'm using ArtStation all the time this weekend, I was like, you know what, I need to start updating it. And so today later today, I'll post another batch of like 2D things, because like here was just a handful of 2D things. And I need to go through and take resume work. So I've got like my portfolio and all that stuff that I need to pull from and actually take like my studio work that I've done in 3D, not just these old ones, but yeah, I'm getting there. So hopefully sooner than later, this will look more updated, more accurate reflection of what I've got. Because these make me laugh seeing some of these things, how old they are. Like, God, this is almost a decade ago when I first learned 3D. Yowzers. Anyway, speaking of 3D, the last one is a video, it looks like. What is this? What do we got? A minute-long video. What do you got here? -if. It was a 3D model I clicked on, if I remember correctly. So is it just, okay. They did like a huge, whoa. A little intense. Little, it feels a little overdone, but I respect it. All right, not bad. Looks cool. Ooh, all right. That was cool looking. These orbs do look pretty dope the way that they're spinning. As always, no clue what this is. Last year I embarked on an ambitious personal project. Nice. This was basically their last year's big work. That's cool. I'm a fan of that chain. This very much feels like a game called Neo. I absolutely love that game. But like the little shrines and the way this is set up and the style of the character, very, very similar. As someone, oh, it's a League of Legends thing. Gotcha. As someone who's worked and we have to do a lot of like low poly stuff, right? Like really need to emphasize how low we can get things, or more efficiency out of games, right? Like it's weird because nowadays games have like way more leniency with Unreal Engine and stuff because you can have just more polys, more base polys can be visible. But like I'm used to like, oh no, we could get that down. Like, because I don't remember one of the videos, part of the video they had like the breakdown here, and I was like, oh, this is beyond overkill for poly count. Like completely beyond overkill. Like that could be, I this could be like 4 polys right here because there's not enough. There's nothing there visually that's changing. That's a single plane. Same here. Doesn't need all of these. Yeah, I'm super nitpicky. I've been trained for years to do that. You know what I mean? Like my brain is like, yeah, clean it up, clean it up. But again, if this is just a personal project, obviously it doesn't matter. Keep it higher, whatever. But it's funny that we all have our little things where our brains are like, ooh, but I'm a sucker for pudgy animals. Get that belly? I like it. I've got downstairs. I still haven't opened them. I finally got my new figures in from Four Horsemen Studios. I do like this guy's stuff though. I like their 2D work a lot more than their 3D myself. But that's not to say that they're not great 3D artists too. I just really like the style. These are really, really fun pieces that they've got in 2D. Ah, that's good. I like that he's got like, it almost looks like, they look like barrels, like old school, like piratey barrels, but also look like almost like binocular type energy, but it's really just the hammerhead shark. This is what he looks like. That's cool. I like seeing the color exploration too, like various kinds. I think I was smart because these were all too contrasting to his color, right? These all pop too much, whereas the blue's a nice subtle. So we see him, but he's not like overpowering the actual character itself. There are figures. Oh my gosh. BBTS. Let me see. Speaking of stuff that I finally got in, okay, I'm gonna pull this. Whoop. I gotta log in. It'll be easier if I just log into my account. So don't look. Pre-orders. It's a pre-order I put forever ago. Yeah. These guys. Look at these. Look at these suckers. The Abyss Force. Humanoid anthropomorphic sharks. Yes, please. Like ridiculous real street sharks. I love the tattoo on his belly. You will eventually become my food. Like, look at these accessories. We've got like such cool ones, such kind of gross ones with the fish. But yeah, these guys look absolutely awesome. I'm excited. They're pricey, but it's a 3-pack. So in my mind, it's justified. And I pre-ordered it like 2 years ago. I think at this point, this one was my favorite though. Old school, like 20s gangster shark. How how can you combine more things that, like absolutely awesome? Has energy like Joe Fixit, kind of got a Joe Fixit figure back here of the Gray Hulk, right? Definitely have that energy since he's gray. He's got his hat. Very easy to please my brain. But these are dope. Still, like the timeline has been pushed back. It was supposed to be last year, and then it was like late last year, and then now it's early this year. One day they will be mine. They've been doing a bunch of other stuff, but like nothing's been released except for this Wukong people have gotten. And everybody likes that Wukong. But I've got my Four Horsemen's Wukong next to me. I don't remember seeing this thing. That's kind of gross. Anglerfish creep me out. I have like a weird fear of underwater stuff. Like that is one thing that gets me. I don't know if anybody else has that feeling, but like something about the deep, deep oceans just, I don't know, man. I don't like it. I don't like it. We haven't explored all of the underwater, right, of our planet. And so it's like, I don't know what's down there. I don't want to know. But also from a creature design perspective, the anglerfish is kind of a beautiful thing. Horrifying may it be. Absolutely cool looking design. And this is pretty cool too. Not gonna lie. Not $110 cool, but pretty cool. But yeah, no, my Ninian infantry finally got in yesterday. These guys. Ooh. Look at these snakes. Look at these boys. They're sitting downstairs on the kitchen table. I've not had a chance to open them yet. We had like a busy, not busy weekend kind of deal. I'm sure everybody feels that, where it's like we did stuff, but also didn't do stuff. And then since Valentine's Day is always busy as all heck, we'll still do stuff for Valentine's Day and stuff next weekend, or this upcoming weekend. But we're like, oh, we'll go out to dinner, to a restaurant, and have like, just a nicer time. And because no one's going to be there on Super Bowl Sunday. Let's make it even better. But yeah, so did not get a chance to open these yet. Probably won't today either, but I will soon this week. That is a guarantee. I need to crack these guys open, and they'll be living right there. You won't be able to see them, but I will. And I'll show them before I put them away. But they are, yeah, I'm excited for these. But anyway, so today I wanted, so on, was it Friday? Friday, I was drawing Monster Hunter stuff. Because the new beta for the Monster Hunter Wilds came out, right? The second beta or whatever it was. And I wanted to get some cool Marvel Rivals, Monster Hunter stuff done. But as I was working on that, I was drawing a bunch of sketches, lots of sketch work for just poses, right? Just playing with poses, playing with ideas. And I got one pose sketched out that looked very much like a pose I would want to do a Psylocke in. Like, it looked perfect. I was like, this looks like a Psylocke pose. And so I did more of my Monster Hunter stuff on Friday. And then this weekend I worked a little bit on my Monster Hunter. She's looking cool. I'll show you guys in a sec once I get my iPad set up. But for now, I wanted to pull up the reference because if we're doing Psylocke, what better way than just to have an actual model of Psylocke as always. And I'll stick with, I was going to do more of her traditional costume I wanted to do. Oh my gosh, that is loud. I forgot to mute it on my end. Sorry. It should be muted for you guys too. But no, her costume on Rivals looks amazing. Her default costume. So her default costume is absolutely stunning. All of her costumes now are just 10 out of 10s. Like, where are we at? Like, this is her default costume. it looks so good. The Marvel Rivals version. Like, this interpretation of a Psylocke is really clean, right? She's got the Kunoichi vibes, the very, very ninja outfit, and it's not over sexualized. And we've got the butterflies still with her scarf. Such a good design. However, they made this new one, the Blood Perudo. Another 10 out of 10. It's like a vampire. Vampire and yokai are essentially two sides of the same coin, each possessing a perilous threat to humanity. But this time, the stakes are... Oh, I need to click through. The stakes are different. These beings exist as both yokai and people. I must seek a gentler solution with the help of this crystal. Yeah. Cool. Love it. But anyway, they made a classic costume, the Vengeance outfit. And so I figured I would use this one as vibes, right? So I'm not going to reference her OG costume. I'm doing her OG Marvel Rivals interpretation of her OG costume, right? So I figured we'd work with that instead, because that way I can keep up, my Marvel Rivals trend of things I've worked on. But then also I want the classic costume. Yeah, I don't play this character, but when I watch any gameplay of her and I watch cool stuff, I'm like, man, right? She just looks so good. I'm gonna have to learn how to play her. I personally, when I play the game myself, I normally don't play these type of characters, the DPS, the damage dealers, just because I prefer playing tank more often. But so normally I play tank, I'll fill in doing a support. If I'm playing support, I'm usually playing Mantis or Rocket Raccoon. But if I play DPS, I'm usually doing like more of like a little more range, right? So I play Bucky or Namor. Which, okay, Hamilton's, you're here, right? So everybody, you're a comic person. There is a thing I call him Namor, right? Namor. But I've heard other people call him Namor. I've always called it like Naymore. Namor, not Namor. How do you pronounce it? Because I've heard other people, when you have a way of saying something as a kid and then you hear other people say it, though, you're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Right? Okay. Good. High five to a fellow Namorian. When I hear people say Namor, I'm like, wait, isn't it Namor? That's how, like you have that way in your head of how you'd always say a thing. And so then I heard it the other way. And I'm like, am I wrong? Is it? Okay. I have not seen a lot of the movies in a while. Unless you're talking like some of the cartoon movies too that they've done. Because I wonder, he really wasn't in much of the old cartoons, like actual cartoons, I feel like. At least none that I watched, that I remember. But good, I'm glad I'm not crazy then. So now, it's like when the real estate industry tried to get people to say realtor instead of realtor. Yeah, I don't... The English, I don't know, it's hard though, because the English language is also a garbage fire mess of making no sense. So, who's to say really, I guess, to judge? But yeah, there's a lot of weird things like that. It's a realtor. Real estate realtor. Come on. See, I have not seen that second Black Panther movie. I'm quite a bit behind. I'm not a big... I used to be... So when I was younger, when... what was it? We used to go see all of them, right, when they came out, my dad and I. And I remember we were so stoked. It was like Iron Man 2, I think we saw in the one day in theaters. And we both... Or was it Iron Man 3? Maybe it was Iron Man 3, and that would make more sense. Either way, I remember one of the Iron Man movies, and my dad and I were like, man, these are dope, but I'm worried we're gonna get too many of them. And personally, I feel like that's kind of what ended up happening, where it's like, okay, there's a lot. And the quality level then can't be held. No such thing. Fair, I guess, but like, I don't know. I get burnt out a little bit with some of the movies where I'm like, all right, all right, all right. I think that's the only one I haven't seen Black Panther, the second Black Panther. I don't think I saw the Black Widow movie or Shang-Chi. I've not seen those three. I'm pretty sure those are the only three I've not seen. Or Ant-Man and Wasp. I don't think I ended up seeing Ant-Man and Wasp. So I'm four. I'm four missing. But I have watched all the others and then all the TV shows. We've watched all those except for the one that I purposely didn't watch. That one did seem interesting to me. Like, of all of the ones I haven't watched, the Black Widow and the Black Panther were the two that because I love Shuri, and I know Shuri has more of a role in the second movie too. Then obviously, but yeah, I don't. Well, what's the TV show? The Nick Fury one. I did not. We didn't watch that one purposely because they used AI art in the entire intro, and they doubled down on it and acted like that was perfectly cool and okay to do. And as an artist, I just can't. I couldn't support that then, just out of principle. The show looked cool. I've watched all the TV shows because those are, for me, better to watch. For me, I like watching the shows. I feel like you get more time to get vested. But yeah, I just couldn't. As soon as I saw that stuff with Nick Fury and all the AI stuff, I was like, well, looks like we've got a different show we can watch this month, because it's not going to be this one, that's for sure. But okay, let's switch over to the iPad view so we can still see Psylocke up here, right? Yep. And then here, I guess I'll pop up what where I'm at right now with my little monster hunter girl. She's looking cool. I really wanted to work with this Narakuga, I believe the armor was. It's like a bat creature. It looked really cool. And I was just laying down some values, starting to do a little different type of. Normally, I like do really hard painting and stuff. So I was trying not to do that this time. I was sticking very much with my, like I had said before, like my thicker, like heavy line art. I vibe with that more. In my, cross hatching and stuff like that. But we'll work on this more. I don't feel like painting on stream right now, just because I'm like messing around with different ways of painting, different gouache brushes and stuff like that too. So like I don't really feel like painting on stream at the moment, but I figured we can go back to here. I'm gonna duplicate this one because I'm gonna mess with this a little bit, this file, but I like the original ones here. So let's duplicate it. And it's this one up here, that booty pose. This looked like a Psylocke pose when I was drawing it. This middle one, I was like, that's a Psylocke. And then maybe this left one, I was like, maybe if I keep with the Marvel Rivals, the left one felt very Squirrel Girl to me, if I'm sticking with like Rivals characters. So definitely wanted to take this guy and stretch it out and do a whole piece on that. So we can see where we were working with originally here, and then I got distracted doing her. So let's just delete these because this is a new one entirely. And then we don't need this one today and don't need this one. But we do want this one. So let's see about the scale we'd use it at, and then I can crop the canvas so I can have some more layers as always. But my nitpickiness is looking at this drawing, and I'm very anal, and I'm like, this isn't accurate. Psylocke is right-handed. So how does it look flipped? Good enough. Now she's right-handed. I couldn't do it. I gotta keep it lore accurate enough. Okay. So we'll just get that where we want it, crop it, just so we've got some 42 layers to work with now, right? That's a little bit more. This really isn't poses anymore. Let's rename it Psylocke. But first, man, I haven't even had a sip. I got a new coffee mug. And there's a whole story to this stupid, stinking coffee mug. Scooby-Dooby-Doo, right? With little Scooby on this side. And there's a little paw print on the inside too. So I'm not like, they're, Ray Dunn is, like one of the people who make these mugs or whatever, the designer. And, we have a lot of their mugs, the Ray Dunn mugs. I don't like the mugs that strictly like say like, there's bad bitch or working mom, or like there's some that are just like really generic, like white lady energy. Like, and that's fine, but you know, they also make ones like this where they have the text, which looking in camera, the text looks really crazy looking. The lighting really messes with the text on a small scale. But it's a Scooby-Doo one, right? But we were at, where were we? We were at Michael's, one of the Michael's, Home Goods, TJ Maxx, Marshall's, combos. I don't remember. I think it was, okay, good. You can't see it. I think it was technically Home Goods and Marshall's combo. And so we're there, right? And we have a lot of mugs at our house, like a lot of mugs. And we are looking at them, and I told my girlfriend, I was like, I don't need to buy more right now. Like, we're good. We have so many, right? And she had just found a couple more. And the rule is I don't tell her she can't buy a new mug because we've got like a whole area in our house dedicated to like coffee, tea, and all that kind of stuff. Like a whole giant section of our living room is just dedicated to that. Like some people have like alcohol cabinets and these kind of things. Like now we got like a warm beverage area. And, but we like to use the dishwasher, right? I'm lazy. Who isn't? And I don't want to hand wash everything. So because we become picky, we have to get picky because there's so many things we have. So many mugs we have, right? You kind of have to get picky. And so our general rule of thumb is if it's not dishwasher safe, we can't get it right away. That's immediate caveat. No dishwasher, no go. Okay, so you're the same way, but they're handmade mugs. That makes sense that you would hand wash those, but I guess if someone provided me a handmade mug, that would be different. You know what I mean? But like, I'm not gonna go out of my way to buy one because I'm lazy. But so there was, I wonder, it was this. Let me send it. Let me see if I can pull it up. Maybe can I do that? Hold on. Let me get the video up of it. It was this stupid mug that I found for one of my best friends. He loves milk. To put in perspective, the very first time he came, like the very first time we hung out forever ago, like I don't even know how long it was, very long time ago. The very first time he came to our house, it was my apartment at that time. He literally had a giant like water bottle, like a huge, the big water bottles. And I was like, oh, cool. I'm as a fitness nerd myself, I bring water everywhere. I'm always, I've got all that. And I was like, oh, I mean, I've got a ton of water if you need to refill. Nice, you got a 64-ounce one. Yeah, I've got the big Nalgene ones. I don't like ones with like a straw. I want to have like a big open mouth because I have a big open mouth. Okay, the iron flasks. Those are good. But no, and he's like, oh no, it's not water. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, oh, it's milk. It was one of those 64-ounce massive, like, just like the iron flask, just filled with milk. He's like, it's just a gallon of milk. I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, oh no, nobody ever has the milk I like. A couple gallons a week is one thing. I'm pretty sure he drinks about a gallon a day, which cannot be good for the human body. That seems like a little much. I personally don't like milk. I was raised on skim milk. Like that's what I drank as a kid was skim milk. And so then now if I have normal milk, I'm like, oh, this is too much, right? And then everybody else makes fun of me saying skim milk is garbage, which is fair because I can understand the difference. But anyway, here, let's pop over this. I saw this mug and I sent it to my friend. Boom. Look at those udders. with the little, and those are like the little tabs to like make sure it doesn't slide and stuff. They look like, how absolutely obnoxious is that, right? I was like, oh my gosh. And when you were younger, you had powdered milk, nasty, warm, great, cold. Yeah, I don't know if I've ever had powdered milk unless you count like Nesquik, right? But isn't this awesome? But we looked at it and it says hand wash only. And I'm like, ugh. If it was me, I would not want a hand wash mug. So I'm like, I'm not going to buy it for him. I send this video to him. And so you don't have to see the whole chat of everything. He literally, he has some more choice language. So I won't have the volume on, but he says something like, ha, bitch, like I got it. And then he literally sends this in return anyway. Boom. He already had it. He had that mug anyway. How perfect is that? And so I didn't get it for him though. And I was like, oh, we were going to get it, but it's hand wash only. So I was not gonna get it anyway. He's like, well, I appreciate the sentiment, but yeah, I've already got it. He got it at where did he say he was at? Cracker Barrel a long time ago. So I was like, cool, I'm glad you got it. But so we were then at, we were debating what ones we were gonna get. And I like to say I love Scooby-Doo is like, I grew up with Scooby-Doo, and that was that's what my dad called me as a kid. I was Scooby. That was like my nickname, right? He always called me Scooby. And so I've got like a little Scooby-Doo plush just right up here that I keep. Or wait, did I move him? Oh no, he's in the office now. But like there's always like a little Scooby-Doo plush, and I love Scooby-Doo. And we had just finished watching the newer Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated. Finally we usually watch cartoons. We make Saturday morning cartoons like a thing, my girlfriend and I. And so we were watching that, we finished it, and we saw this Scooby-Doo one. And it's a Ray Dunn mug that we've got plenty of. Didn't even question. I was like, I'm not even debating that one. I'm buying that. Like that's just an instant yes. We also had another one with Russell, right? Is Russell? No, Russell's the kid. Doug. Is Doug? Yeah, Doug, the dog from why am I not thinking the name of that movie? Up. Thank you. Holy cow. I was like, it's literally just the simplest thing. Up. And it just on the one side, it has a picture of the dog, and the other side just says squirrel. And I was like, all right, that's pretty cute. And so my girlfriend wanted to get that one. I was like, I'm not even thinking I'm getting the Scooby-Doo one. And didn't hurt that we have like a huge gift card that my mom always gets us like stuff for Home Goods or different restaurants and stuff. So it's nice to be like, oh, it's on mom anyway. Thanks, mom. Anyway, I had texted my friend. I'm like, you're a monster that you hand wash. He's like, I actually only hand wash my mugs. He's like, I don't use the dishwasher for my mugs. And I said, well, you're a monster, and I don't want to ever talk to you about mugs. Like, that's just terrible. So we get home, we unload. We had nice dinner. We went shopping. We did a few things. So we're like unloading everything, and girlfriend's scraping off like the stickers, right? There's all the different stickers always on these mugs, the price tags and stuff like that. She's scraping it off and she hands it to me to like just finish, wash off the bottom because I was doing some dishes. And I'm washing off the bottom and I died. Every Ray Dunn is dishwasher safe. But this stupid Scooby-Doo one says hand wash only. And we didn't even look to see that. And after I had just mocked that my friend is a monster for having hand wash only mugs, I just bought one against our own rules and I didn't even realize it because it's the same mug as all the other ones. Why is this one any different? I was heartbroken. I'm a movie freak. Sometimes when streaming, I'll say, okay, whoever tells me what movie this is gets a free drawing. And then I'd say an obscure quote. Haven't given any away yet. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, I'll do that to my girlfriend sometimes. And she's like, I don't know what this is. Why? Why? But yeah, so all of that to say I made fun of my friend about hand washing mugs, and he cursed it. I think it was his doing, right? There's no Ray Dunn that is hand wash only. He did something to make that happen. I don't know what he did, but it hurt me. I'm wondering, honestly, because, like, there is a tiny little paw print on the inside. And it's, like, debossed in with, like, a little color. And I wonder if it's literally just that. Like, it's because of that little difference that it made it hand wash only. Either way, I was pretty bummed. Not that we don't hand wash a bunch of stuff anyway, and it's going to make a difference really in the grand scheme of things, but the principle of it, absolutely atrocious, and I was very mad. My wife will say, hey, that's so-and-so who plays the other character in the movie. I'll tell her that they're similar but not the same actor. She'll insist, don't trust the guy who's been drawing people's faces for 32 years. Yeah, what was it? We were doing something the other day, and it was like the same thing where like I had said something, and my girlfriend was like, I don't know, I think it's, are you sure it's not blank? And I was like, are you? It was Superman. It was Superman. It was a Superman thing. And I was like, you're going to tell me a comic book reference that it was like, it had something with, what was it? Something with like, it was like a younger Superman, and it had something where it had him and like Lang, right? And my girlfriend's like, you mean Lois? And I was like, no, it's Lana Lang. That's a different thing. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm pretty sure that would be Lois Lane. It's a different LL. I'm like, no, it's never mind. Don't trust the guy who, literally watches all comic book, TV shows and cartoons and has comic books out the butt, that you're going to test me on a Superman reference. But yeah, no, that's definitely for Lana Lang. Ugh. But same idea where it's like, don't test the one who's like a master of the thing. Oh yeah. But anyway, I guess we'll look at some drawing now. I keep getting distracted. There was a young Austin. I remember the first, like, The Spy Who Shagged Me. Austin, I can't remember what the subtitle was for 2, and then Goldmember was 3, right? Like a different actor. It wasn't Michael Myers. I don't remember a young Austin. Unless you just mean like still Michael Myers played him, but like was like a different actor. Recognize adult actors when they've grown up. An actor played young Austin, and years later he was in Captain America: Winter Soldier. I said, "Hey, Austin." I think links are postable. I'm not sure. You can try it. I don't remember how the moderation was set up on this chat. But so this is the actor that played young. Oh my gosh. How? That's impressive. That is extremely impressive to catch that. Because he's playing such a distinctly different energy as Austin. Oh, I barely have the screen up. Sorry for those. This. That's wild. Yeah, I'm good. I don't think I'm that good. I don't think I would have caught that. I usually catch like pretty obscure character comparisons like that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that's from blank, or that's so-and-so. Yeah, it's definitely not a monetizable skill. At least not that I'm aware of. But if you find a way to monetize it, you jump on that. All right, I'm going to quickly block in. Don't worry, the hornbally nature. This one definitely just felt very Psylocke. Even, she got her butt out. It looks very, very goofy just drawing this big old butt cheek now. But I've been trying to focus more on female anatomy and making, less giant beefy dudes and stuff like that. But this feels like I'm course correcting a little too far as I've just got this big old butt cheek on screen. I'm just kind of thinking of where her outfit kind of is based on this pose and maybe changing the pose a little, because the pose was a pretty quick one that I did the other day. So just making sure the idea still reads okay and the shapes still read okay. This hip area looks weird. I don't know what, wonder if I just round it out like that more and kind of close out that part. I think that looks better. And just kind of keep that, yeah, a round shape from there. Sometimes I try and put in too much detail, and especially in something like this with like the hip or the butt, it quickly can become awkward looking, right? So simplify the anatomy. So big old booty. Technically has like 2 rings here, but we barely will see them because it'll be pretty crunched this leg forward. Again, this is not my my forte, so like drawing like this butt looks kind of weird to me. I don't know why we'll see. Maybe if I sit on it longer. Because it would be technically bigger. I guess that's part of it too, like because we're looking at it from such an angle, we would actually see a lot of butt crack. Like otherwise her butt would have been real little, because technically like this is where those hip dimples would be like up here. Such a big old booty. Thank you. I'm glad you caught the pun I threw in there. I try. Yeah, my girlfriend's been poking fun at me then though, because since I've been trying to draw more, you know, of the female anatomy more intense, she just keeps poking fun. She's like, "How are your booby ladies?" I'm like, "Shut up." I'm drawing my things. I'm practicing. She says it in all good love though, not like maliciously at all. She's super supportive, but it's just always funny. She's like, "How are the booby ladies today?" I feel like it's too round. I think this will help because yeah, having too big of a round cheeks, it didn't even make sense. So let's have this have like the flat part of the back more. I think we might need to crunch the like this original drawing. It looks a little like kind of long-ish, right? I wonder if we like play with the idea and pull it down a little bit, I wonder. Something like that. Look better. Oops. Let's kind of stretch it like she's going even further. That's too much though. Too far. As always, I push it. You know, you push it to crank it. You overtune it, right? That's what I always say with, as a guitar player, you overtune and then you reel it back to what you actually, the actual tune, right? And that's the same way with art. Overtune it, see when it breaks, and then go, okay, too much, too much. Now we reel it back. It's a cool pattern on her leg here. Hard because I can't zoom in, like specifically you can only zoom in and it goes straight to the center. That's fine. Mm-hmm. She still has a little bit of a heel. I didn't notice that. That makes sense. Nothing really. I'm not gonna try and draw the pattern just yet. Just trying to get the shape in there for now. She does have a heel. So I do have to make sure we account for that a little bit in the drawing to show that there is that extra bit that goes down. Very messy at first, as usual, but that's okay. Yeah, I know you talking of like movies and movie quotes and stuff. I love the Alien movies, like Ridley Scott Alien movies. Um they're like a weird comfort movie. The first Alien and Aliens. I think it's cuz as a kid, it creeped me out, right? Used to go on the Great Movie Ride in Disney and all that kind of stuff. Like Alien as a creature horrified me. But as an adult, I grew up and I started watching them and actually like really appreciated them and loved what they were. And so I think it's like a weird thing of like, because it was something I was scared of as a kid that I grew to love, that it became like this comfort that I really just, there's something about putting on, especially I just love sci-fi, especially old sci-fi. So seeing like what the Nostromo and all that, like what they viewed as like the future, right? I always love seeing like 80s sci-fi because their vision of the future obviously is very different, but based off of what they had for technology at the time. But so we had been watching Alien movies. Why is it? Oh, that foot is hideous. Because my girlfriend had never seen them, right? And so with Romulus, the new Alien movie, not too long ago, I was like, oh, I really want to see that, but I love Alien, so I want to include you in this, right? So we need to watch these together so I can fill you in and you can, have the appreciation like I do. So we watched Alien, we watched Aliens pretty quickly. Like we were pretty good with it. We don't watch movies that much, but we actually, we got them in, we watched them. And we kind of got stuck then because I hated Alien 3. Like, I didn't hate Alien 3, but like, Alien 3 in my mind is like arguably the weakest Alien movie, if not Alien Resurrection. No, I do not watch that much. Some people make fun of me, I know, because I don't watch enough, but I try. But anyway, so we were watching Alien, we watched 1 and 2, and we never watched 3 because I just hee-hawed because I was like, I don't want to watch it. Because I don't watch that much, I didn't want to waste my time watching Alien 3. It just never, that movie did not jive. And then knowing full well Resurrection was after it too, I'm like, ugh. And somebody brought up, why don't you just watch the new ones then? Like you got Alien and Aliens. The other two don't really, they're not telling a story that's gonna like help sell anything. And then especially not the Alien vs Predator movies. Those aren't helping anything. Those are just, like action nonsense. And so I was like, you know what? You're right. We need to just watch Prometheus, Covenant, and then we can finally watch Romulus. And gosh, I've seen Prometheus quite a few times, right? But we watched that the other day during our like cartoon time in the morning, like Saturday, our weekend cartoon time. And I was like, we'll just watch part of it, right? We'll just watch a little bit today and then we'll switch and we'll go do some other stuff, whatever. But I was drawing my Monster Hunter piece and she was in the zone watching it. I absolutely love Prometheus. Like, I loved that movie. That was such a good one. I still obviously like the original Alien better, I would say, and Aliens. But I think Prometheus is definitely up there as maybe my third favorite. We'll see where Romulus lands, but I think it's Aliens, Prometheus, Covenant, Resurrection, and Alien 3 for me. not seen Romulus. And then I don't count Alien vs Predator movies at all because those don't count. But no, one thing that I always forget until I watch that movie, I love the score from Prometheus. That it almost feels like you're about to go on Soarin'. Okay, so you did like Romulus. So yeah, I'm hoping within the next month or two, Romulus will be on the menu, right? Because it takes a while. We watched one movie. We'll see when we get to Covenant, and then finally get to Romulus too. But yeah, no, the score, the music in Prometheus, there's something about it that, like I said, it feels like you're about to go on Soarin', like for me, like almost in a weird way, but like a more bigger epic science fiction tale. But like it has energy of Soarin' from Disney, which I love that music. So it's not like a bad comparison, but it's definitely like every time I rewatch that movie, I'm reminded how much I love it. Okay. Yeah, well, that was the thing. I feel like Prometheus didn't like Prometheus was cool on its own as like telling this story before everything, right? Whereas I feel like it didn't try and be Alien, right? Like it didn't try and do the exact same energy. Like it had similar beats, but yeah, it had its own vibes for sure. I honestly can't even remember Covenant that much. So I'm kind of weirdly looking forward to that one because I've not seen that one. I've seen Alien, Aliens, and Prometheus a good amount. I think I've only seen Covenant maybe twice. So I'm weirdly looking forward to rewatching that one with her because I'm like, oh, that will be a genuine like not a new watching of it, but like when you've seen a movie plenty, you know exactly what's happening. Whereas like if you watch something you only vaguely recall, that's always a more fun one sometimes because you get the new stuff too. It feels new again. Something about her hips into this butt just feel a little too weird. I think maybe it's because I need to pull this up a little more. I don't know. I'm not used to drawing big booty girls. This is new to me. We're the intense NSFW furry artists. Come teach me. How do I do this? Show me the way. The way of the boot hay. Holy crap. You guys couldn't hear that? But I'm pretty sure like every goose in the region just flew above our house. Like the sky, the ground was almost blackened because there were so many shadows. Ugh. Geese, man. I don't mind geese here in Chicago. Don't mind them one bit. But living in Minnesota, I absolutely hated geese. You couldn't go anywhere without getting poop. Like everywhere you went, poop, goose poop, every day. Someone who goes on walks all the time, I feel like I needed like special goose poop shoes because no matter where you went, you were stepping in it. Didn't care the time of year, didn't care where you were, any sort of park, any sort of forest preserve, you're stepping in that. Quite literally stepping in that shit. Like, man. Whereas we have a lot of geese here in Chicago, but it's not for some reason as absolutely obnoxious. So Lopology, you're here. I was telling a story. And it pertained to mugs, right? So so Hamilton's the story I was telling, that was Lopology. That was the mug story that I was saying. And I made fun of you for not someone alert. Well, so did you hear that I basically said I gave you crap for not? Yeah, he's the hand wash mug guy. What a weirdo, right? That I made so much fun of you for that then I literally got this mug and we were cleaning it up, and all Ray Duns are not, they're fine to throw in the dishwasher. This Ray Dunn Scooby-Doo mug that I picked up, hey, no, we're not supposed to gang up on me. No, we're supposed to. No, we make fun of him. He's the loser. No. I don't like hand washing mugs. I already have to hand wash. Anyway, this is hand wash only. This stupid mug that I just bought. Hand wash only. It's the only Ray Dunn we own that is hand wash only, and we didn't even look to see if it was. So I made fun of you the whole time saying only losers get hand wash only. And then, yeah, joke was on me. I said you did it. I told Amy, I said, I'm going to send this mug every time I get it dirty. I'm going to mail it to him in Florida, and he's going to hand wash it for me, and he can send it back. It's super economical. It's definitely worth my time and his and the money. It's fine. That's part of it now. And then she goes, well, wouldn't you want to wash it when you'd get it back because it was, in the post and stuff? And I was like, yes. So I would then hand wash it myself, but it'll be worth it. You wouldn't keep it. It's mine. But yeah, it is a really cute mug. So well worth hand washing. Both of you absolute animals who hand wash mugs here in chat. My gosh. Part of it is though, like, I don't have like mugs I take out, right? Whereas girlfriend does. So I usually am already hand washing other ones, right? So I'm already hand washing like the ones she takes to work and stuff like that. So I'm like, I don't want more to hand wash. I don't know why this butt is just not looking right to me. I think it curls in too much. Is that it? Should it go more like this? And then this butt cheek comes out. I think that helps it. I think the butt cheeks were just not looking right. Again, I need my NSFW artists to just pop in here and give me some tips. There's so many NSFW artists on Twitch. I was not aware of that. Because when I watched streaming on Twitch a lot for art stuff, it was when I was getting my master's, which was, gosh, we took a picture, girlfriend and I, the other day, and I was like, I'm so old now. Like the way the lighting hit, I had all my grays. I was like, oh. But anyway, so it was a while ago that I got my master's, and when I did, I always watched a sculptor, a handful of different sculptors, but one of them was Ashley Adams. She does 3D stuff with Pixelogic. She still does, I think, stream with them. But like that's what I watched, right? Just 3D sculpting. That was it. I never really ventured more past that. It was always just 3D artists doing some cool stuff, and I never paid much of attention to it. And then I've watched a handful of game streamers, right? Like I've got variety and game streamers and stuff like that I watch here and there. But I haven't really looked back into the art scene too much until I started doing it now myself, and really enjoying it. I love being able to create stuff and have an excuse, and then I can chat and meet cool people and do all this stuff. But like, there's so many censored streams because they just got like furry or NSFW stuff everywhere. And no judgment. Y'all do you. Whatever gets it going. Here, I'm drawing booties here now too, because apparently it's the cool thing to do. But like, I think I was mentally not prepared for how many there are on the internet now. Like the fact that like I'd say like 1 out of every like 15 when I scroll through Twitch. Oh, is this it? Should the butt be more like this? Is that why this is throwing me off too? Her butt technically wouldn't be this giant butt cheek like this, because that doesn't make sense. But it does if you're just trying to hornball it and make it a big old booty. But really, physically, the butt would have to curve, right, with the shape of the leg here. So if this is one big tube, right, the butt would be doing the same thing. I'm getting there. I draw big butts and I cannot lie. Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard nowadays when like you're working with like trying to get retention and people viewing things and stuff like that. When you see like, I'm not gonna lie, there's been times where I'm like, man, I see some of these artists doing these furry NSFW stuff or whatever, and it's like, no knock against them, but like from a technical perspective, it's not like they're like some astronomically like well-trained artists. but they are so popular and they get so many views and so many likes and so many commissions and all that. But I was like, I could not live my everyday drawing like Fox NSFW stuff. Fox isn't like Animal Fox, not Fox News, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, nah, I can't do that. So instead, I'm just going lightly into them cheeks. Yeah, I don't know what is going on. I feel like I'm noodling this butt because it is like in your face. I don't want it to look, I want that to look great, obviously. So I might just do some other bits and come back to it and see. But I think this definitely helped having this S curve for the one cheek into the other. I wonder if her leg is too thick then, because it doesn't make sense where the like where it's coming from out of the cheeks. Thin it out a little bit, maybe. It's looking better. I think that definitely helps. Like it makes sense at least now. But as usual, I feel like the leg is real long. I always seem to stretch stuff really longer than they need to be with proportions, which isn't bad, but maybe shrink it down a little. Excuse me. Going down this undersketch, it's seeing too dark now. But yeah, I get to go this afternoon. As soon as I'm done streaming, I get to go drop the car off. We've got 2 cars, and my quote unquote car is like the good car, if you will, out of the 2 of ours. And so since I'm at home, I've dubbed it like that's the car girlfriend takes to work, right? That's the one she should take, is the nicer one, because we've had issues with hers and stuff like that. But my car then now needed like an oil change and some work done, and it's one of those ones where like we've been putting it off. And I tried, so we used to go to a Firestone near us, and they screwed the pooch like real bad last time, like 2 or 3 times in a row actually. And so I was like, we're done going to that one. And so I found another smaller body shop that I really liked, but then I tried contacting them 2 different times, and they never got back to me each time. And I was like, well, I guess we're not going there either. Like, why is this so difficult? And so now I just have it set to like another chain shop at like a Midas, and I've got an appointment right after stream, so I get to go drop it off. And lovely Chicago weather here is like 20 degrees, I think it said today. So then I get to I just leave the car, or I stay there with it always, because I'm like, I'll just go for a walk regardless of the temperature. But I'm like, ugh, there's like nothing around there, and I get to go for like an hour walk then just around like a business park, I guess. That's boring. Man, yeah, this butt, I don't know. I don't know what's going on here. We'll come back. We'll come back. We'll come back. I don't really want to Google. He bought a new gaming chair from Ewin a few months ago, and the hydraulic cylinder didn't work with their customer service. Ugh. Yeah, dealing with just like when people don't respond. I honestly have never even heard of Ewin, but either way, when you buy crap and they're like, I've talked about that before, that like it's sad that even just adequate customer service usually is considered exemplary nowadays, because it's so non-existent otherwise, that like you just need to basically do your job as customer service, and you're like, wow, that was great, because I'm used to people who don't do crap, right? Like, that is frustrating as heck. Was it super expensive? I hope not, because that's even worse. Then hopefully you got a deal on it originally. That's good. We've got an IKEA right by us, And man, I'm always torn because like I could always use a new chair in the office, especially. And so my office chair kind of sucks. And they do like the open box clearance return, different ones, right? And I hate it because they always tempt me. And I'm always a weirdo though, where I'm like, like especially when it's been sitting in their clearance showroom floor. I feel like even if they weren't in bad shape to start, they get in bad shape because they're just sitting there with like 1,000 people coming in and sitting on it. You know what I mean? Like, and I get it. That's how they got to sell it. But I'm always like, dang it. I feel like I would have liked this a lot more if it didn't have as much wear and tear on it from just being here in. Because there was one, I can't remember what the chair was, but it was so comfy. But it was like clearly, like it was clearance. It was only like a $380 chair, like a nicer, like a desk chair. $380, I think, was the retail on it, like looking up online, checking the prices for that IKEA one. And it was only, I think it was 150 then. And I'm like, oh, this is tempting because I do need one in the office. Like I really, I can't, I have a standing desk, but then when I go to sit, it is very uncomfortable on the chair there that it just doesn't work. And for the longest time, I was wheeling this chair into the office. But that just gets annoying. But yeah, because it was sitting there on the showroom floor, I feel like it was more wobbly than it would have been had I just been like, yeah, I want to buy an open box version of this. Just put it away. Don't put it out on display for people. Like, because it was so comfy, but like every time, like you'd move it and it was like, grr, 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 grr. Like it had such a rickety shake to it that I'm like, dang it, so close. I'm a sucker. Like I you really got to hit me when it comes to that kind of stuff to buy it, especially right now where I'm trying to be like really, really conscious of saving money and stuff. And so even if it's a good deal, I'm like, yeah, but it was rickety. You know when you try and like you convince yourself by finding flaws in things to say no to a thing. And I think that's part of it because I do that a lot. I know where it's like, no, I'm gonna make up an excuse. I'm gonna find I'm gonna rationalize my reason to say no. That said, that was a very comfortable chair, and I kind of wish I did get it. It was real comfy. Even if it was rickety, who cares? Like, all chairs get rickety. I don't remember what... I wrote it down, or I typed it, and I don't write things down. I had typed it on my phone, the type of chair it was. It wasn't like gamer chair. It was like the ergonomic, comfy, like IKEA chair energy. I think I've got it here. Let me see if I can pull it up. Let's see. It's going to be like some weird... I know. I should have probably gotten that IKEA chair. I get it. But it was too wobbly. Here, let's see if I can find the chair so I can show everybody how beautiful it was. If I can find... It's got to have like a weird name as always. Yeah. VALL. Okay, let's type this bad boy out. VALL FJALLET. Velfiolet. Velfiolet. Yeah. Right? That sounds right. Velfiolet. That was the thing. This one. So yeah, it's 390. I looked at that. I flipped it around thinking like, oh, I can just tighten some of these screws and it'll be all good then, right? Like no big deal. I'll just tighten it up. But where it was rickety was like, here. It was this chair. Really comfy, like pretty nice. And again, pretty pricey. So for 160 wasn't a bad deal, but it was like under here. Oh, it's IKEA. It's going to be overpriced. Yeah, obviously. Like the base price is way more than it should be. But this part, like the mechanism, the metal part that slid on, that was the part that was rickety. So it was a sliding mechanism that just loosened over time in terms of like the bracket and the slide. So like you couldn't tighten that because I was like, oh yeah, I'll just tighten it up. No big deal. And then I flipped it upside down, put it on the table to look at like what was causing the little bit of extra warp. I was like, crap, the one thing I can't actively fix. Like, I'm sure you could have made spacers, put it in there, done whatever. Like, I'm not about to do that. But yeah, so yes, 390 is extremely overpriced for what it is. But I mean, nice chairs are really expensive, which sucks. But either way, right now the problem is, anyway, I went to go use. So I've been doing work in this room all the time, and this is where my really nice computer is. The office now has the crappy computer. And so now when I try and do stuff in the office, by comparison, I'm like, this is frustrating as heck. Like, it's just too slow. There's been issues with it. Like, stuff has been lagging way more than it should. And so now I'm just doing all the work that I would want to do in the office in here, right? Because I'm not working at a studio right now where I need like my big Cintiq and all the other like 3D software. And so because I don't need that, I'm just using the iPad. So I don't need my big old Cintiq right now. And that's like the main draw in the office. And I love the standing desk. Like, I love being able to stand. But for now, I'm like, well, I guess for now I'm just going to do the video stuff and other, editing software here on this computer because it's just easier right now. But so really that's an extra argument against it where I'm like, well, I'm not even using the office that much right now. Like, I'm using this room way more. So why need more? So I'm making it super thongy, but I don't know how to make it because like her design isn't, but it looks weird when okay. I'm going to give it like 5 more minutes on the butt and then I'm going to switch because clearly I need to work on other bits right now. And the butt is something I'll learn as I go along. Who knew? These furry NSFW artists. Apparently there's more to these booties than I realized. Speaking of expensive things, I think I've talked about it on stream already, but we literally just wanted a new lamp, a tall lamp, like a floor lamp. And floor lamps, like, straight up don't exist anymore. Like, they're not in vogue. Like, everybody apparently just expects you to buy table lamps and put it on a table. I don't want a table lamp. I want a really nice tall floor lamp. And finding one, we've been to like so many different stores now, and I did not expect it to be as much of a difficulty as it has become just to find a nice tall floor lamp. They're either like weird canopy ones or overly designed or plastic and garbage, and I'm not in college anymore. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is going on? I did not realize. It's one of those things where you don't know. It's hard to find until you start looking for it. Like, since when has this become a thing where it's hard to find? Like, I just want a nice tall floor lamp. I'm not asking for much. But we've been through like 6 or 7 different stores. And like, I don't know about you guys, I absolutely hate. We both, girlfriend and I both hate going to actual furniture stores. They're just, might as well go to a car lot at that point. Like, the type of people that are there sometimes, I'm like, I'm sure there's nice ones. I'm not saying all are, but like the one time we went, I don't remember what store it was even. A furniture store. I don't know. Doesn't matter. And I don't even remember what we were looking for at the time. Coffee tables? I think we were looking for a coffee table because I accidentally broke the one. We had like a super old one of her like great grandmother's or something like that, or grandma's. And like, it was like one of those like really cool, like really nice legs on it, but it was not like conducive to like sit down at. It was a nice old school coffee table, but we sit down and eat at our coffee table a lot for dinner because that's our time to finally watch our, like 35 minutes of TV a day. And it broke. I broke it one day, accidentally getting up. I put too much pressure. The thing snapped, yada, yada, yada. So we were looking for a new one. And we went into this one, again, couldn't tell you. I remember physically where it was, but I cannot picture the name of this furniture store that we went to. But like, holy Stromboli, that dude was so obnoxious. Like, we walked in and we explained like, oh no, we just, we're just peeping, looking for maybe a new coffee table. Nothing really. We're just kind of looking though. We're just kind of pricing stuff out at the moment. We're not looking to buy anything today. Like, made it pretty clear. Like, that is not on the docket. And he's like, oh, cool. No worries. Well, let me know if you need anything. And he introduced himself and it was like, okay, that was a fine interaction, right? Nothing, no harm, no foul, right? That was fine. Didn't mind it. But then the dude felt like that meme of that guy like just creeping behind the fence, like creeping everywhere we went. It was like, or like a horror movie where like suddenly that thing is always behind you, no matter what you did. And everywhere we went, he was just like, just chilling like one display behind, like it was like a little butterball of a man. So he wasn't like that hard to miss. Like, he was short, but a very hefty fella. And like, he just kept looking and creeping. And we'd be having a personal conversation. And then out of nowhere, like 2 displays down, he would like chime in and be like, yeah, that's nice, isn't it? And we're like, no, like, yeah, it's nice. Like we said, we're just, like, I thought we had disengaged. Like, we tried to disengage like 3 or 4 times. And it's like, he knew full well that we had disengaged, which is why he was doing it in like creep fashion. And I'm like, okay, this makes me like absolutely not want to buy anything now. Can we just leave? Like, I don't know. That energy was so like, read the room. Like, why are you being so intense? And so going now, if we're just looking for like, I'm sure nice furniture stores probably have, I mean, I would think they would, but who knows with our luck lately, have like tall lamps. But also, I don't want to deal if I've got more of those people, like, I'm good. I don't need that in my life. Needless to say, we left and didn't buy any. We did not buy a coffee table from that individual. Also, they didn't have any good coffee tables. Nothing that we wanted. Cool coffee tables look awesome, but the thing is, like I said, since we like in the living room, that coffee table is where we eat regularly. Like, we have our kitchen table we sit at, like that's usually where we eat lunches if on weekends, or I eat lunch myself and stuff like that. Like, we use the actual kitchen table, but then more often than not for dinner time, that is, like I said, that's our time to kind of like chill and watch TV together. We only allocate an hour at most for TV with the 2 of us on like 5 days a week, or maybe even 4 realistically. So it's like, it needs to be a very specific type of chair or a coffee table where like you can fit your legs in it, because we also play board games and do all that kind of stuff. And so when people come over, we'll just crowd around. We have like this super nice floor rug that's so soft. And so we need a very specific kind of coffee table. Yeah, I mean, we try and watch more. Like, I've actually, like, the amount of TV we watch now is more than we normally ever watch. Like, I've been trying actively to make sure we watch more because there's so many damn shows. It's like hard to keep up, right? And so if everybody's talking about stuff, or like there's shows I love watching, and like, you talk about with your best friends and stuff like that, and it's fun to keep in the conversation, that like I try. But like, yeah, each day I would say I consume active watching, like internalizing, right? Like, so late at night, sometimes I'll throw some crap on if I'm drawing or like zoning out before I go to bed, right? I don't count that as watching TV because I couldn't tell you what happened. And it was probably it's usually just like an old sitcom that I just throw on the back burner, But like active watching, I maybe watch like at most 45 minutes a day, if that, right? And sometimes on like Mondays and Wednesdays, I usually watch enough. I'll get my hour in-ish. But then Tuesdays and Thursdays during the week, sometimes I'll watch maybe a half hour, if that. Some days I don't watch like any, depending on how, yeah, like if we maybe 20 minutes, like sometimes it's been really rough. And so like it's hard to squeeze in TV time. And so that's why the other day when we watched a whole movie technically in one morning, that was like, that sounds silly, but like that was like we were like, holy crap, that was the whole movie. Like we did the whole thing. Because that's not something we normally do. Yeah, I'm always super active. I go for my walks every day and all that, but like right now with the like the winter is not like we still go for walks every day. Like don't get me wrong, and on weekends we still make time to go for walks too. But it's very different. Like we go for walks in the winter to go for a walk, like to get it done because we like to do it. Whereas like in the summer, we always go to different parks. We go hiking all the time. Like that's usually like our go-to thing because we both enjoy just being outside. I like that we can just talk, right? It's just a nice way to get away from all distractions and just enjoy each other's company and just be physically active. Like it just feels nice. But yeah, wintertime, it's more of like, let's bundle up, let's get our walk in. We'll still talk and, enjoy our company with one another, but it's different energy where it's like, hey, I want to get my walk in, not, ooh, I can't wait to go hiking and, be out for hours and do, you know what I mean? It's more of like, all right, well, it's 24 degrees right now. It'll be 18 later, so let's squeeze a walk in now. Which that's today. Literally, I looked at the weather. I've got to drop the car off around 2:30, and I looked at 2 to 3 o'clock is 23 degrees today, and every other part, that's the warmest. Everything else becomes like 19 degrees. I'm like, well, at least when I have to be, going for my little walk or whatever, that is the warmest part of the day. Whether that's genuinely warm is a whole other debate, but relatively warm compared to everything else. Yeah, something about this is still just not. What am I doing wrong? What is the problem? Is it she's too twisted? Like I said, this is what happens when I try and draw booby girls. I get thrown off. I don't know. The perspective and proportions get me all out of whack. But I think maybe that's part of it, that like right now her left side is looking way too long. So if I kind of twist it and crunch this area a little more, so it's less of like a lean forward and more of like a strong twist back, I think that'll help. It's funny, I play so much Marvel Rivals now. As I'm looking at Psylocke, all I keep hearing is the I don't, obviously she speaks it in a different language. But all I hear is her like ultimate voice line when she like is about to do her like crazy dashes. So like that's all I keep hearing in my head as I draw her for some reason. That's just ingrained in my memory. Which is wild, the impact. I feel like that's one thing that goes like so underappreciated and understood as to how impactful it is voice lines in a lot of these games, right? Like the voice lines are super, like voice lines won't break a game, right? But they can help make a game, I feel like. So like when you play, because I'm a big Street Fighter person, right? So like obviously just even Hadouken, like all these things, like I know the things, but like even in newer Street Fighter, like we've got JP, he's like he's kind of like the new M Bison. He's got like the new psycho power. He's like a older dude with a cane and he uses like projectiles and he has like these spikes and all these things. And he literally just has this like go away, move, like very like weird simple way of talking, but like those voice lines hit. And so like when you're playing, you hear it and your brain is like saying it too, like all of these really simple voice lines. But if they're fun voice lines that make you like connected more, they really go a long way. And I know that's the same with Marvel Rivals, where like these voice lines are just stinking Bucky again whenever you do Winter Soldier, when he does his armed and dangerous, and then he goes again if he can do a second and a third and a fourth, and he can keep like chaining his ultimate. And like all these voice lines resonate with people, right? So if a game can become popular, all you heard through MegaCon this weekend, yeah, I'm sure, like, because they're so iconic. And so being able to hear those things, you're just like, it reminds you of the game that you like to play, and it's funny and it's cool. Like you usually sound cool. Like whether they're like the lines themselves may be cheesy, they still feel cool for what they are. Like whether legendary, like hearing like Star-Lord and stuff like that, like it may be cheesy, but it also just sounds cool at the same time. But yeah, it goes a long way. Like I said, I wouldn't ever say that like voice lines make a game can like turn off players necessarily. Like maybe they could, but I feel like more often than not, they just help accentuate how good a game can be, right? It adds that like extra memorable oomph, that like hook, right? That audio I feel like goes underappreciated. I mean, quite frankly, that's what I'm working on with my YouTube stuff now. What I'm trying to build up is I want to build stuff where we can appreciate the art in the games, right? And I'm well trained in physical art like this, right? I don't know enough about music to be able to, you know what I mean, like make a video discussing and appreciating the sound and audio design and stuff. I can appreciate it and I understand how impactful it is. But I feel like that's another thing that like too many things come down to like, well, how is it monetized? How does it play? It's like, yeah, those are important things. Don't get me wrong. But what about the art of it, right? How beautiful was it? Did it look cool? How did it sound? Did the when you did the things, did the impacts or the music, did you feel invested in that world? Like games can be bad for so many reasons, but they can still be artistically fantastic, right? And that was a series I was thinking about too, was doing like um bad but gorgeous or something like that, right? Like taking a look at games that aren't good games, right? They reviewed poorly, they sold poorly, for whatever reason they didn't perform, right? From a commercial metric. But from a design perspective, visually, they had so much going for them, right? There's a lot of games that have that. And so I think that would be really cool too, like deep diving in games that maybe didn't do well, but the art team behind it really delivered on what the product, you know what I mean? Like they knew the assignment and they had a vision and they delivered on the vision. It just may have gotten muddied by corporate stuff, by microtransactions, by glitches, by who knows what. Like there's so many things like that can make a game die. And it's usually not the art. I mean, sometimes the art sucks, and that will kind of ruin a game. I'm not saying art is like the only thing, but there are certain games like I know Concord, right? That's of recent memory, visually stunning in terms of how the game was made from a technical perspective, but like character design, or well, I mean, that's a gorgeous but bad game. That is a prime example, and I think that would be one of the best ones to do for in favor of absolutely stunning artwork and love and design went into it, because that's one where too where it wasn't just the visuals, that was the audio. They had the old music, they had the voice lines, and the voice lines were written in such a way that they actually interacted with one another, that you had Batman making jokes about Bugs Bunny or Scooby Doo and all these things. Like, that was fantastic from a creative perspective in every way. I'm eating my piece of chocolate. But WB got their grubby, money hungry hands on it and said, hey, let's burn this bastard to the ground. And boy, that sucker burned. Like, but that's a prime example. Yeah, that would go a long way of talking about that. But that said, yes, there's some games, like I said, like with Concord, where it could be great art, but the character design or some of those things just didn't read, right? They were actually part of the problem in that instance where they could have done better. But yeah, I'm getting used to the new software. I've been using DaVinci Resolve, and I've gotten used to it a little bit more. So hopefully I can start now. The goal was to hopefully actually start working on the YouTube content this week now. I've been just trying to like learn as much as I could about the software and stuff, but it's getting to that point now where it's like, okay, I need to just do some stuff, even if it's not perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I get the gist. I need to start cranking stuff out. So, because apparently I can't make art either right now. Like, it's the Monday. It's that Monday energy where like I feel like my ability to draw and conceptualize stuff is a little rustier, right? That's okay. So her hair is just like super level, right? So how would we? But then she's got these big old flat bangs too. You gotta do at least one of those sticking out, right? That's the rule. Let's get the shape though first. So then her hair is pretty flowy. I do like the idea of it coming down, like we wouldn't see it here, and then it comes back. Or should it be going over her shoulder, actually? Would that help disguise this space more? What do we think if we do something like this? Yeah, that wouldn't be too bad. Maybe it cuts up a little higher, though. I feel like it needs more volume, though. Like, it's looking a little too flat if we do that. So, I wonder if we, like, pick it up a little and give it, like, a 3. Like, this is the background. Like, do, like, an environmental energy with the hair. Maybe look at it like there's a background, a midground, and a foreground. And kind of do that with the hair, maybe. To kind of help sell it and do the same idea. So it's like background, midground right here, and then like the foreground of the hair. It seems weird, but also like makes sense enough in my head to do something like that for especially for this angle. This looks like a butt then here, even that I just drew. Butts all around. Can't stop, won't stop. Butts for days. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that hair. And like I said, today's been stuff isn't hitting quite the same. Not hitting the vibes. Whatever, we got hair in here. We've got, technically her bangs would be covering, so we would see, what was this? Her nose would be probably behind this giant hoop earring I just drew earlier, so if it just cuts in, but I still want to see the face, right? We just lean in, no face, just butt. All face, no butt. I mean, all butt, no face. I don't know. Kind of fits with her vibe, honestly. Like more of the ninja feel, like you don't even see her face. The last thing I saw before she killed me was her butt. It was all a blur. A cheeky blur. What does she do? I mean, like, she does her little, like, just make it like a fist almost, then maybe? And have, like, the butterfly energy going like that, right? Or wait, no, it goes the other way, right? It goes backwards. So it goes more like this. Like a crossbow on her hand, kind of. Can't really freeze frame it on that. So I could take a screen grab, actually, if I need later, but there's the idea, though, right? Boy. Yeah, I'm trying to think now. My brain's been trying to rack my head around, like, gorgeous games that just failed. Like, heartbreaking idea, but yeah, I'm sure there's, because I know there's plenty. It's one where, like, I think of it in the, like, I've thought of them before, but now trying to think of them, like, on the fly, I'm like, I actually can't think of any that were like, man, that game really should have done better. There's some like that, like the Suicide Squad and the Justice League or whatever. Like, that game looked good, but I wouldn't say, like, that game, like, blew me away stylistically. But that definitely failed. And lo and behold, hey, look, that was another WB game. I wonder if we're seeing a trend or some sort of coincidence there. That WB sucks. Forget about the hair for a moment. Oh, the one you hate the most was the Nicholas Cole's working that didn't even get to be made. Yeah, that one is weird because the more I read about it, it seemed like they went too hard into the design visually. Almost the exact opposite then, where, like, no gameplay elements ever really got hammered out. Like, the more I read about that, the more it sounded like that game was, like, in a weird development hell of, like, super amazing visual design and pre-planning, but then when it came to gameplay, nothing ever got flushed out, which is very bizarre. and from an artist, that is super disheartening. Like, why would you, like, I feel like you need both. You need a spark visually and a spark gameplay wise to have an idea for a game. You can't just, it seems very weird to work from visuals and go backwards to me from a game design perspective. Like, I feel like you've got to have some sort of idea to begin with, but yeah, a shame, because there's been all the art that came out, because him and plenty of other artists, it wasn't just Nicholas Cole, but like plenty of artists had stuff that they've been posting, and you're like, man, would have looked cool if they actually had a design in mind, like other than the gorgeous visuals. If only. And it's always weird like that. Like, I wish like a company can just be like, yeah, we'll take those designs, we're making a game now out of it. We actually have a plan. Can we have them, please? Money, please. Cool designs, please. Speaking of Nicholas Cole, then, gosh. So Nicholas Cole, for those that don't know, has amazing illustrator, does a lot of concept work too, but he's also worked with Disney's Lorcana a lot. He did like one of the main Mickey Mouse images that you pretty much see everywhere. Excellent artist. However, Lorcana is a trading card game that, you know, trading card games are not without their faults from a game perspective. And there was this whole drama, right? So my experience with trading card games, like legit TCGs, right? My experience is not super vast, but growing up, my little sister, like, obviously I played Pokemon, right? I played Yu-Gi-Oh! I played some Magic. You know, I was a child of the 90s. Obviously, I did those things. But like, I didn't like competitively play them. Those were things with my friends, right? My sister does do the competitive stuff, right? Like, she's gone to like the nationals for Pokemon and all these things. She does like, I think it's called Y Schwartz. She's done like the One Piece stuff. She's done all these things, right? Going to big tournaments. And in her experience, there's been so many like kind of shitty people. Like, obviously there's usually a stereotype or stigma to trading card games, unfortunately, but like, sometimes the type of people that it attracts are not, I don't know, they're either, I feel like, black and white with rules, or kind of scummy, in my experience of going to all these events with her and hearing all the stories. It's like, you're either one or the other. You are like rule to a T, or you are kind of scummy and just want to win. Like, that seems usually the two types of, generally, obviously that's grossly stereotyping. But anyway, Disney's Lorcana, what's interesting with that is it is by Ravensburger, and they've done no other like official like intense trading card games before. This is their first one. They've been a board game manufacturer, at least as far as I know. That's all I've ever known Ravensburger for is board games, right? They've designed and made board games and puzzles and all that kind of stuff, I'm sure. But so it's weird that like in today's world, there are so many examples of things that are already done well, right? So in this instance, I'm talking about official trading card game stuff from a tournament and high level, like actual perspective. And so you can look to, how has Magic the Gathering done it for years? How does the Pokemon League do it? How does, you know, all of these things, like everybody, there's so many trading card games that come out that have like official sponsorship, and that's part of like a league play. Like, that's a thing, right? Whereas Ravensburger has been like, hey, we're new still, we're learning. And it's like, with a lot of their events and stuff. And it's like that, yes, you can say, hey, we're learning still, but also like when you have the tools already hammered out, right? Like, if someone's already done the dirty work and they know how to set up tournaments, they know how to organize rules, they know how to do, you know, like how to set up judges, all these things, like, it's hard to be like, yeah, but we're learning still. It's like, yes, you can learn, but you can also take what's already been established, right? Like, you don't have, somebody's done the grunt work. You just need to maybe discuss with them or, study them and figure out how to do it. But so what I'm getting at is that, like, Disney's Lorcana has had quite a few bouts now of weird rule breaking and cheating and like scandals, right? And this last one was a pretty big deal. I'm not going to go into detail about it necessarily because there's a lot of, if you don't know the game, if you don't know the rules, there's a whole caveats to it and it doesn't matter. But basically, it was like a big deal that this dude, it was a big event that this dude pretty much like straight up cheated at, right? And a big event. Only lightly got into reading up with the uproar. Yeah, like, so there's been a handful of different cheating scandals, but this last one was the biggest. Yeah. Where basically, to put it simply, there was like a caveat with the rules that never got changed in the official rules for the tournaments. However, they had already announced that that didn't apply because it went against the core game rules, right? And so it had been announced. They had never changed it in the ruling officially for tournament play. And so there's one person who has known to cheat in the past. He's from the UK. He's cheated in the past. He's done all this stuff. And basically there was a simple move, a combination of moves, in terms of how the turn order, basically. So how do things, that's a big thing with trading cards, is how do they resolve, right? How and when do things resolve? And basically this guy knew, right? It was a bounce mechanic with a magic broom and a Merlin card. Where basically like you play a thing, you do a thing, card goes back to your hand, you get a point, blah blah blah. And like this person had done that move multiple times. That move had been done thousands of times at this tournament, like thousands of times, because that's like a high common mechanic in the meta right now. And person A was the one who got screwed, right? Person A was doing the thing just how it's always been done and how it's supposed to be done. But technically, you could argue that it shouldn't be done that way if you looked at the rules of the old tournament stuff that never got updated. That Ravensburger officially came out and said, yeah, we need to update those. But these are the rules. Like technically these are the rules though, but we haven't updated what the verbiage is. Which I don't know why they didn't, and they hadn't done it for a long time, because I know there was a dude here in the North America who has been like arguing to have them update it for the longest time. But anyway, basically, person B then, scummy guy who's been known to cheat in the past, had this person, did that move multiple times, did that, interaction, which is how it should play in normal gameplay. And then when it was the final game of the set, and he was at a disadvantage, and it would have turned the scale, like tipped the scales in his favor, right? If they enforced the rule then in his favor. And so he called over a judge and was like, no. But the thing was, he literally had already gone to motion to tell the guy he was wrong before he even did it. Like, so you could see that it was very preemptive, that this person had it planned in his head, like, I'm going to pull this BS last possible second in the match when I really need it, right? And argue. And knowing full well this person is a regular tournament goer, they know the rules, they know that that is not the case anymore. But he gambled, right? He gambled, called a judge over, and the judge, and that's a whole thing where like they don't have official training for judges. Like a lot of trading card games have training and like official like certification to be a judge, whereas Lorcana doesn't have all of that like in place set by Ravensburger. There's unofficial ones here in the North, in the NA and other things like that, but like there's no official ways. And so the person ruled in favor of the shitty guy essentially, but like I don't know. It was a whole thing. I could keep going. It was a weird one. Either way, long story short, Lorcana actually reversed it and said, hey, that guy's banned. Never mind. Like, because there's been a history. He clearly did this. He's being a shitbag. Like, they didn't come out and say that, but they basically, he was the one who qualified to go to the Worlds tournament. And so they didn't say he was banned or did anything like that, but they just changed and said when they announced who was going, basically like a recap of the events, it's the guy who got screwed over now is going. So like, because they've said like, we don't talk about confidential things about, you know, player rulings and stuff, but it's funny where like the community is like, oh, so you did ban him though. Like you do know he was a piece of poop and he was a garbage human. And it's like, why can't we have nice things? Like why do people always have to be malicious? Why do they have to be so negative? Why do they have to, you know? And like I get it, when money's on the line, the world's a mess, and like we all need money to live, right? And like, but that doesn't mean you screw over somebody else, which is a whole other problem with today's world. But yeah, it's just wild where it's like with everything in this world where it's like, why you gotta be, it's a Disney trading card game. Like of all the things to be like shitty with, for some reason that just feels extra gross to me. Like you're literally like trying to cheat with Merlin and a broom from the Sorcerer's Apprentice, like from Fantasia. Like why you gotta be like this, world? Stop being poopy. Either way, like I said, good thing that they aired on his side. So as I'm just like blabbing talking about trading cards and all these things, I think I'm getting a little bit better with this pose, like a little more readable. The butt cheeks look more good-ish. Like it makes more sense the way these are forming along the crack here, but not quite. I wonder if I get rid of this and then just kind of like elude up here. That'll help even more, right? I think so. Body's twisting and turning. There's booties. There's boobies. There's all the things, you know. All the things a Twitch artist needs to draw, apparently, as I talked about. But I think that reads a little better now, that pose. I keep like looking, again, I look at the monitor because I can see it really small. And sometimes like a super tiny thumbnail helps. Only thing I'm looking at now is like the hip rotation. I think this is where I'm still kind of hung up. I don't know if it should be like rotated more one way or the other. That way it looks real stupid. So it's either the neutral position I had or crunching it a little bit more. Though at that point we're cutting off the, oops. Oh, give me the whole selection. Like, it's something about her butt, it just feels really flat. And like the way the butt cheek is going, like her right cheek, feels like it's really dipping down, but the hips aren't twisting to account for a dip. So like if we do something more like that, just a little bit, I think would help. Like rationalize why that dip is why the one cheek is way further out. This is part of my problem too. Like when I joked about like the NSFW artists, I don't know how much they care about the anatomy. They go, yeah, but does the butt look good? I don't know. I'm a stickler for anatomy and for at least somewhat rationalizing the positions. Okay. We've been blabbing quite a bit, but we're getting there. We're getting there. I don't even know what time it is. Probably 12:38. That means time for one more piece of chocolate. And then lunch in an hour, and then immediately going to drop off the car. It's funny, I've just been wanting to play Marvel Rivals so much lately. having Marvel Rivals up this whole time is like a weird tease. Like, I know, I want to play you one day. One day, as in later today, just not now. The one of so I always play games with my friends Monday and Wednesday nights, but somebody's missing it this week because they'll be gone for work like a nerd. So now we're down a man. Man down. He had joked about getting a really expensive gaming laptop, which I told him forever ago. It was like a year or two ago, because he goes for work pretty regularly. And I'm like, you need to get a gaming laptop. And he really should. I'll send him I have like an Alienware. So I had an Alienware laptop when I got my master's because I wanted a laptop in my head. I'm like, a laptop makes sense instead of beefing up my PC so I can use it on the train, right? Because I was commuting all the time. That laptop was like 30 pounds. Like, those were like the early Alienwares laptops that, like, yeah, they were huge. It was like a 19-inch monitor on it too. Like, it was a pretty big display. And that thing was a brick. Like, I had like the special backpack to hold it and my books and other things like that. Like, that thing was gigantic. And I would sit there on the train. But because it was such a power hungry thing, like, yes, it was a laptop, but like, you needed to plug it in pretty regularly. Otherwise, it just drained the battery like mad. And so the battery was like maybe like an hour at most. So I would use it on the train though, and it would feel like you've got like 1,000 degrees just on your lap. Like, I was just like, well, this is my life. This is the hottest thing. But it got the job done. It did everything we needed it to do. But funny how different things are now. That I'm sure, yes, a gaming laptop would still be really hot, but now that we've got like the Steam Deck, which does just as good of stuff in a handheld fashion, you're like, well, damn. That's my gaming laptop. Just in a nice handheld form without having to. Oh my god, the Steam Deck is fraction of a cost of what that gaming laptop was too back in the day. Absolute fraction of a cost. But we all justify stuff since that was for school at the time. I justified it because I was like, well, I need it for school. I'm getting a master's degree. This is serious. I need to commit and get, like, however we justify, we find a means to our ends. But how did I draw this foot originally? What did I block in? Just so I have an idea so I don't have to rethink about it. So I had it pretty flat, right? I'm just going to copy that because I liked that foot actually. That foot worked. So guess what? We copying what I did earlier. Earlier Britton was smart Britton. So why even think? Why use many word when few word do trick? Good old Kevin Malone. Why use many think of art when little think do trick? And trick it do. So I'm not really getting the heel here though. Honestly, I've never really drawn this type of a shoe. So I'm like thrown off as to what the heel would look like from this angle. I'm guessing it would just be kind of like an extra oomph, right? Like that, and then swoop down a little, maybe, ish. Something like that. I don't think that's too important either way. The visual is still there enough. I'm going to do the same thing with this foot, because this foot I drew looks stupid. But for some reason, my initial sketch, I feel like looked a lot better. Sometimes when you do stuff really quickly, and like you don't, sometimes not thinking is the best way of thinking when it comes to art. Because the second you start overthinking it and trying to break stuff down, that can be to your detriment. And so, keep it simple, stupid. Works. That's real long, actually, isn't it? Yeah, it's as usual, long feet. Let's pull that back and let's try it there. Okay. Foot. Main thing when selling feet, I've talked about before, is just really making sure we have those. That inner curve really helps sell it, right? It's one swooping curve generally mixed with a crunch, that bean shape, with like almost every design we work with, right? The world can be summarized in a bean or a flour sack or a whatever, you know, like strong curve, like a straight versus curve in different ways, right? Whether it's the body, the calf, legs, feet, like that's just kind of how everything works. We're all but bean people living in a bean world. How you bean? Still looks off, but I think I keep avoiding it. I think I'm gonna have to look at her hair again in a second. Like the hair just I didn't get the hair done right, and I keep switching between because I feel like that's something that helps when you're not feeling a piece. Switch to a different part of it. Like you don't need to stick on it. Move around, get to a part that maybe you can forget about the main thing that you're trying to do for a second, and then just go back to it later. But unfortunately, later is now. So I should probably look at that. Yeah, now that foot looks like crap again. Trying to fake a heel is what's throwing me off, I think. That's liquefy it, maybe? When in doubt. Liquefy that bad boy out. Okay, good enough. We'll reassess that foot because that looks bad. Now to figure out the hair though. Ugh, yeah, that foot looks real bad. Both of the feet look bad, but the butt is looking good, and that was kind of our the main focus of today's today's draw a good butt. But okay, so let's think of her hair, right? Let's really look at the way her hair is designed in this. Let's zoom in. So she does have a little bit of individual strands. She's got each of her things. I really want to accentuate that they're clean, right? Everything is very flat. Let's see, what does she have? How do I look at that? There's like to change your icon, right? Customize? Okay. Is there like, I'm curious how they've drawn, if there's any cool like illustrations of her, but I don't own any of her stuff, so I probably, oh, you can still look at the things you don't own. Cool. That is such a cool one. That's like one of my favorite nameplates, that Venom. Ugh. Venom always looks great. Magic has similar hair energy. Did we just miss Psylocke? Am I dumb? Probably. Oh, up here. Okay. Yeah, I want to keep the initial design of that flat look. I do like the ponytail. Okay, we'll go back to the character. Cosmetics. What do we got? What do we got? Let's think of this. So flat. Really want to play with these flats. So I'm gonna do a new layer because I keep ruining stuff, and that makes it so I can't ruin it, right? New layer means new problems. Give that anime bang, right? Where it's just like not even touching. Everybody loves a good bang. No neck bangs this time though. So what if it swoops more playfully like this? No, because hers is so flat that I feel like giving too much curvature to it ends up feeling weird. I'm going to go like a different color. Do we just so before I've been having it go down, maybe I don't even have the shoulder be sticking out. I just keep the hair more of the focal up here. Does the top of the head, okay, so it's kind of like a middle part, so the top of the head starts parting like that, right? Just slightly. But it does pretty much go right into her bangs. So we can kind of have like the hair as if it's maybe a little bit coming over the shoulder, just to feel more natural, right? As if it's getting like pushed, but not too much, right? I still want the lion's share of it to be behind the shoulder to give it more of a breathing room, so the shoulder can shine a little bit. Do I have color variation on the sketching brush? It like changes, it looks like. I must have a little bit. It's like pink and purple. I like that. Ooh, kick some butt, Hamiltons. All right. kick some water volleyball, but I'm gonna finish up here for maybe another 45 minutes. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you've got hope you kick butt and good rest of your day too. Good. I'm glad you always kick some butt. Yeah, so with the hair, I'm trying to like look at how to keep it feel like, because her hair is very structured, right? And that's what I want to make sure I still keep that energy of like flowy, cool, like breaks in it, but still relatively structured hair because that's kind of her thing. And so, as long as we keep that core element, that feeling, I think it'll still look really good. But it's just a matter of making sure we can capture that still without like, you don't want to sacrifice what the energy is of the character. And I feel like that's always super important to grasp right away when you're drawing, like what is the energy, right? Her energy is, if we're looking at hair in particular, very clean, very organized feeling, very structured. And so if we can keep that energy, but still have like variability and make it really like appealing to see like this like break in shape and stuff like that, that'll kind of the best of both worlds energy, right? We even have some maybe appear under like that. So as I'm drawing her, all I'm picturing, this sounds terrible, the way her butt's sticking out, my brain has not been able to think of anything but the God, what's the woman from Road to El Dorado? That's all I'm picturing right now. This isn't Psylocke. That is whatever that woman is. I have not seen that movie in a billion years though. So trying to think of what her name is, I could not tell you. I weirdly really I know I've added some color variation. I need to see what I did to this brush because I like this color variation. It's just slight, right? But it gives this nice gradient to everything that is very pleasing. Like I like it a lot. It looks like I have it where each stroke, is that what it is? Each stroke has variable, right? That doesn't really help me too much. Maybe it would when I do my line work, instead of doing all black, maybe I do like some gray color, because then even if I'm like cross hatching, imagine the cross hatching then like that has some sort of wave to it, right? There's at least some sort of extra energy as opposed to just being solid black, 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 you know? We'll see, we'll see. We'll see what I do. For now, let's not even focus on that. Let's just get this hair blocked in the way I want it. So her hair does, since she's facing the angle where like this, I feel like her hair still would just be further out than what I originally drew. But again, keeping this structure, but also give a little bit, right? I don't want it flat as heck, because then that's not as appealing, right? But if we make it a little bit, just give it a little bit of sauce, because she's moving around, right? And then I do want to somehow illustrate when we're doing this to think of how I want to, because the bangs start in a different direction, right? So the bangs kind of go like this, whereas this hair then still flows. So I still want to make sure we see this separation, even in just like rough line work, so that when I color it or I, ink some lines, my brain knows how to distinctly separate those two pieces. Because sometimes having, I talked about it before, even if you don't use it in like whatever your final maybe, it will help guide you. So long as you have your own little guides in place, it can usually help you in the long run. So an extra couple seconds to draw something. Forgot to share your new emote, then you're gone. Not ready yet. Oh, okay. Well, we'll see it. If I'll be back Wednesday. Let's see you Wednesday. Later, Hamiltons. It is the worst though. Like when you're like, I'm done, I'm leaving, and then you're like, crap, I forgot to do that one thing. Like I hate that feeling. That's like a universal feeling. I feel like all humans do. Like if you say you haven't done that, then you are a bold-faced liar. Like we all hit that point where like, all right, I'm all good. Oh, farts, I forgot that one thing that I really wanted to do today. Or get done. Or I walked into the kitchen to do blank and somehow I left and I didn't even do it, like that energy. So her hair looked really flat, but I know Psylocke hair, especially like when you've got this long flowy hair, to simplify the shape like this is kind of pleasing, just to do like a cut, right? Like a little nick in the hair. So it sells the idea that it's, has more movement and it's not perfectly flat without like making too much of a fuss about it, I think I just want like a little bit of color. Technically, we can have it going up. Yeah, let's do that. So it looks like it's like flowing under the body here, so it can like wrap around. Does that look right? Something like that. So it looks like it's going under the armpit, maybe. Maybe not so drastic though, just like a little bit, just to hint at it, not quite act like it's so much. Yeah, that could look cool, just to give a little break to that negative space too, where the armpit is. I can mess with that. I'm just throwing in heavy color real quick to see if this shape reads as a block of hair nicely, or if things need to be tweaked. It does feel like I want something here though, like something coming up on her arm, like as if it's folding along that space too. And then maybe we do get rid of this. So the idea of the fold is actually happening like that. So it's like getting pulled up around the tricep area here on her arm. So as if it's like really rolling around the space. Because right now it looks very one-dimensional. But if we have it flowing around here, maybe that'll help sell that. Let's do like, again, that little nick. Because if it's rolling around, obviously it won't be as solid. So let's kind of like make the cut kind of follow the shape of the body though there. Because if the arm's round, we'll make it kind of rounded with it. Right? Let's do this. Follow suit here though. If it's rounded this way, the hair flowing over would have to kind of follow that curve of the arm rather than just be its own shape. So what I mean here is if you've got like, right, we've got a tube for her arm, right? And which goes like this. And so if the hair is folding over like this, right? You kind of want to just follow these curves this way, right? Because this is the way the curves are flowing. But if you go the opposite direction, it feels like very counter to it if you cut it this way. So if we follow the curve of the arm, right? So if the hair kind of comes down, curves like this, and then on the way receding, it also follows that curve this way, right? It feels like it naturally is resting on the place rather than somehow working against it. That's all. That's all I was thinking right there. $103. We are getting there. Didn't get as much done per usual, but she's looking better now, which is good. So we've got her outfit there. Let's start blocking in the outfit then, right? So we've been meandering around that. What does her top look like? So she's got this big scarf around her waist. And I still haven't drawn this hand. I actually don't. So would she be let's see. Would a sword look better? Oopsies, that is absolutely not what I want to do. Would a sword look better, do we think? So the movement of the sword, right? So if her body, right now, excuse me, is curving like this, right? Pretty strong curve this way. You can argue there's like the S within here, right? How do we want the sword to counter that? Will the sword accentuate or break it? Do we do almost like if we do that, we cover the butt like entirely because that sword would be like completely covering the butt? Or do we, because if her arm is like that, right? Her arm's pretty far back, but she does hold the sword. Oh, she does always hold her sword backwards, right? So we can do that. We're like, the handle would maybe be, so it goes this way. So the handle's up here, right? Handle up here. Why is that? Why did I draw that like an absolute ragamuffin who's never drawn before? So if you think of the way your hand would be, right? So it's her right hand going back. So thumb would be like inside and facing down a little bit, right? So it's almost like handle and then sword going this way. But I don't like that. I don't like how far that goes up. So let's fudge it and see what it would be like, what it would be like if we make it like that, maybe. That seems counterintuitive to her hand shape, though. Like her arm's position, I mean. Or we can cut it more extreme then, right? What if we do something like that? And it's going straight up almost. That seems like a better counter to me. But I wonder then, what if we fudge the perspective, right? So that it's not quite like that. What if we fudge it so like it's more... This is absolutely horrifying what I'm doing right now. Don't think this is gospel. This is just trying to see like an idea of how that would be in perspective. So if we do, let's do something like that. Let me block it in as like an actual rectangle, right? In 3D space, so we can maybe see how that would sit. So let's see it like, I do like that it kind of, maybe do we break that? Do we go above the hair or do we go below the hair? I kind of want to go below the hair so it feels more contained. So let's keep it like this, right? And then it'll get bigger as we get closer to us, right? Because that sword is super receding and it's a sword, so it gets thinner anyway, right? So the sword's receding, but then gets, that's too extreme because it's still a thin sword. It's starting to look like a different type of weapon. So we got to be careful with how we play with this force perspective. when you shade stuff, usually your force perspective helps a little more. You know, like you can kind of sell that stuff more. But so in this instance, we can add detail too that will give the perspective. So she's got the hilt, right? Or I actually don't know what that's called. It's like where the sword is notched into. I'm pretty sure that, so like what would happen is you take those apart, right? And you would take it apart and the signature is actually inside the handle like that for, you know, the individual artist and you know, the character, the creator of the sword. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so like if we kind of can do this, we can kind of get a better way of looking at the perspective, right? So if we can kind of fudge it and we can show the viewer then if like, oh, look, it's thicker up here and then it gets thinner as we go back in space, right? That top part. Again, just blocking in, not perfectly clean, but just trying to think of how we want this to look, right? And then it goes in, and then it's just kind of like a little oval, right? Her sword, nothing too intricate, which is beauty in its simplicity, really. And then the handle is just, yeah, nothing crazy, right? So if we look at this angle we already made, or this line, right? And it's curving this way, right? So the curve would continue to the butt here. Kind of just follow this. But then it would get a little bigger because we're trying to play with that perspective that it's getting closer to us so that we can sell it that it doesn't have to be as long then. And doesn't have to cover the butt as much. We worked hard drawing this booty, right? We want to make sure it's visible. And make sure we see like the butt end of it here. The butt end of it. So we can understand that there's like it's coming at us, right? That this is a different plane. No, this way. And we can even maybe sell it a little more since we saw the top already. If we sell it by doing something like this, right? Because then we see that it's a rounded shape, kind of. Moving in space rather than just. It makes it look not quite the cool shape that it is. So let's play with the fact that it's got like there more of an angle. And then we don't need this massive line to showcase it, but so long as we don't get rid of it entirely. So like if we just keep it like, hey, there's this steep angle. Eraser's too little. Steep angle, because it's a cool design there. And then we just kind of allude to the fact that it's continues, right? We don't need to draw the whole thing. We just need to make sure that the viewer knows that, hey, it makes sense that there's something going on here still, right? There is some sort of shape. There's some sort of movement in it. Though the perspective still feels off. We will workshop this as we go along. I zoomed in too far, I think, is the problem, right? We always talk about that zooming in too far is what is the killer sometimes. The killer of good art is too far zooming. Because then you lose the detail that you're trying to actually play with. Okay, that's fine. We'll shrink this down a little bit more. And then if once we add like cool design stuff to it, like the pattern, I think that'll help too, right? Usually helps with weapons like that where you have more detail. Right now it just feels like a weird rectangle. Okay. Well, I want to quickly see if we can block. So the sword's kind of blocked in. We can mess with a hand shape later. Because I don't feel like trying to think of the hand right now, just because that'll take me a second. This is a weird angle, right? And like technically her hand is like, would be cutting down. Yeah, that looks weird. Again, not the time for hand solving right now. I'll do that when I want to, which is not right now. But anyway, so thinking of her outfit, going real quick so we can at least block in the outfit a hair more, right? Let's she's got her big old scarfy thing, right? But then she's got on her sword wielding arm, right? She's got a little bit of, it's hard to see with the hair. So her back has like a move away hair. Okay, so there's a better angle we can see. So her there's like a circle. So if we imagine the scarf piece kind of up here, right? There's a little bit of this here. Is this a new layer? Am I drawing on the, let's start a new layer. Just so I don't mess with the body shape right now. And this is red, right? So let's just keep changing colors just so we can play with these things. So here's her red. So if we're following the curve of the body, right, it'll go slightly curved this way, but then it's quite a bit up, right? And so the bigger knot is here with her, it, you know, trailing this way maybe. We'll figure out a cool angle for that to make that look cool too. But for now, let's scarf, like, let's say it looks like this here, right? Maybe a little too high. Also, this is much more orangey looking than I had originally wanted it to, but that's okay. So a little bit of scarf like this. And then the other one, we'll make it so there's negative space between the scarf so it doesn't feel so like overpowering that you'll see like a little bit of the suit in between like they do here, right? So it kind of droops down. So let's kind of mirror that, but then following the curve of the body here, right? To really sell these shapes. So like thinking of how her shape is here, right? The curve would come around this butt cheek this way and then come back up here. Somewhat. So then if we put that in, let's see how. It's a little too on the nose the way we have it. So let's make it round because it's not like a pointed piece. It's a scarf, right? Okay. Something like that. Ish. Ish is good. And then it does have like a, they're kind of flinging all around. Is it just one? How does this outfit go? It's a bow. So you've got two different like main tails kind of coming out, right? So do we want like one looping around to like feel like there's more motion like this? Or do they both just kind of come from here maybe? Something like that. As if they're coming from behind. I hate that we're zooming in now and we see the stupid hand that I just blocked in that looks like a absolute doo-doo just to get a shape in there. So like one coming up here. Maybe it follows actually. No, I want the negative space for her butt still there, right? So I want the negative space like this to exist from her for upper, like this, right? This negative space. I like that negative space, so let's keep it. But let's play with the scarf coming down just a smidge then. And then technically, if there's two, come on iPad, please. Please do the movement. There we go. Feels a little long. And then is the other one maybe like a thinner one coming down this way? Or is it just following the same kind of pattern here? Don't know. Again, I have a feeling I'll mess with these later. This is just to get a quick gauge of where they are. So maybe we just don't even do like a super, like it just kind of alluded to like, hey, here's the other little bit hanging. Who knows? Maybe I'll redo this and think of an even better way, which is usually what I do. I'll like go off stream, mess with it a little bit, and then like come up with a way cooler look. But for now, as we're just rushing to get pieces in, I think this works. Though it's throwing me off. Why is this coming off? Like it looks orange as orange can be, right? Like this is super duper orange colored. Yeah, no matter what I'm doing, this it might just be the brush settings I've got on this that it makes it feel more orange than red. Can I adjust real quick? Whatever. Scarf. Let's block in, go back to just a black pencil, right? We on the right layer. Cool. And then just get this like circle pattern on her back in, right? So it looks like it goes over the shoulders. How does it wrap around the chest then? So it's like a tank top, basically. Right? So the tank top comes... Oh, wait, this is her. Oh, wait, this is the armored side. So it technically goes up into a full sleeve then. So it comes up around, but then we also see a little bit of this back here. The circle that exists back here. She's got this like armor on the shoulder. So we'll block this in. The cool little armor piece, right? Armor on the shoulder. And then her sleeve actually, this is a weird way of connecting. So it has like an opening here for the armpit comes in. So there's like this big old circle that'll exist. But then it doesn't, it goes under the one piece that goes around the front of her shoulder. This is a weird perspective, weird angle to draw this outfit. My brain's kind of not braining at the moment. Again, we fudge it and it'll look good enough. That's all that matters. No one's gonna, you can't really tell when you're getting in the weeds of an outfit like this, it's hard to. But then this piece actually comes up. So there's like a weird cut on at the center line almost of a different material. So her outfit is basically like, in the original costume, it's like one big old thing of spandex essentially, right? But they try to add a little more design to it. So there's like overlapping layers of material now, it looks like, which is cool, but kind of confusing as I'm trying to solve it in my head. Because then there's also the circle, but then this piece comes down too. Man, yeah, there's a lot of shapes going on her back. Like a lot. I'm not quite sure if that makes sense, all of them, but it makes sense enough for now as someone who needs to go eat lunch in a couple minutes and then go take the car to the body shape. So I feel like this line now is getting way too heavy where her breast is. I just want to allude to it being kind of like that shape though. You know, like it's under. I think that'll go better. I feel like I'm trying to sell this overall shape though. Her boob might need to be a little bigger just because it's getting, it already looks way bigger than natural, but you know, comic books, baby. I think the scarf thing needs to go higher. Like it's not as interesting looking at that scarf on her waist. It looks really flat, don't you think? I think that's what we can switch. So let's make it a little higher. Oh, I'll go to that weird red color that I was just complaining about, right? Let's erase this. I just don't like it. I don't like it one bit. So let's redo it. So if she's twisting, it would actually cut down really low here and go, it goes pretty high. It's like right to her ribs, right? So what if we really accentuate it? It goes up around, and then the second one goes like more over her hip though. So spawning from the same spot, I think that's what the problem was last time, right? So let's have it actually come more swoopy and then go like that. So we cover part of the outfit's like seam, the cut line there. Too big, too much. Overtuned it, right? Pull it back, pull it back. Too many curves then. Yeah, I don't know. This scarf is not doing it for me. Again, I think it's because the butt has like so many weird plane changes that I've established here that I can't get it to look just the way I want, but something like that is better than last one at least. For sure. The first iteration I didn't like at all. So this at least looks a little better. I think we're going too high now, maybe? Is that it? What if we kind of crunch it in the fold here? And then we wouldn't even, let's say we don't even see it, right? Because technically it's wrapping around in the front there, but then we'll see more here maybe. Yeah, I like that more. So both of them, as we've talked, the one rule before I always say where if everything's big, nothing is big, right? And that's kind of here. So if this part, if the top part of the strap is like really breaking the bounds, then if they both break the bounds, it just feels samey. Whereas if this one kind of folds behind the body as you curve, where this one actually juts out, that helps the one that juts out look more important. Okay, so still not sold on this bad boy. Like I said, her tail, if you will, of the scarf, but that's fine. So let's look at her armor design real quick one more time up here for her arm and start blocking a couple things in, and then we'll call it quits. So on her arm, she does have an elbow piece of armor, it looks like, right? So we can actually, we already blocked in the elbow. So good job, previous Britton. That was helpful. So that's where the elbow would rest. So it's literally just this little shape that, of course, is tangenting with her hair. So let's make it smaller. I think it's smaller and thinner then. Right now it feels thick since we made it so short. And there's just a single bend, right? Nothing more, nothing less, nothing crazy. And again, it'll have a cool pattern, but for now it has boop, 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 scribbles. So my brain knows that it's not normal. So her arm is coming towards us, right? Us, the viewer. So her arm's curvature would look something like this. So she has a sleeve on this arm. So this whole thing is material, but then on top of the sleeve are her wraps, and there are 3 of them terminating in like a ring. So I'm going to put the 3 in, and I'm going to see if we can sell those rings. I'm not sure if we should. We'll see if maybe we can just kind of because I do like the idea of breaking the bound here with the ring, but also not sure if it's going to read as well because it's very busy now, this space. Again, let's try it, over-tune it. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, and we can always pull back and redo it. I think it might, I don't know with 3 of them though, if it'll get real ugly is my thing. Whew. All right, my chocolate is not holding me over anymore. I'm getting hungry. Hopefully you guys have good lunches on your end waiting in store for you. Mine is, as usual, just my protein. So I wonder if we not fake it, but like we play with the curve that it's moving in space more. So instead of making it a straight up circle, let's flatten it so that it actually is receding in space along with the rest of her arm. Like we wouldn't have to see the whole circle, right? The first part of facing us would be round, but then if it's going around her arm there that we don't see, it would flatten out from our perspective just a little as it recedes in space. So if we do that, that looks a little better because then we can still get the rings in there because that is a pretty main part of her arm design here, her armor. But then we're not like overdoing it. But yeah, now if we need to put 2 more of these bad boys in, I'm not quite sure how messy this will get. Are they lined up or are they? Oh, they're pretty lined up. Poop. We'll make it work. We'll make it happen, right? What are we thinking? This looks clean enough, I think. Not too messy. The rings are still there, but it's not. Yeah, we'll see. I'll come back to it when I have fresh eyes later with it and see if I want to change that. But it at least kind of shows that there's those rings rather than if you just leave it just the straps. I feel like that would get boring. Where is this? Is this ugly hand that's blocking my way? It is. Get rid of this then. Goodbye. Oh my gosh. Quickly erase around here and then we'll zoom out. We'll see what we're working with. See if we can like throw any little quick shapes in to sell this before we stop for today. So I think her outfit though, where does it? Confusing that there's so many panels. So this goes down, but it's still all the same outfit. This is just a panel line on it for the butt. And then her arm has the 2 wraps and then the gauntlet in front, right? With the same Same energy, the same 3 wraps. So it's like a wrist thing with... That's tight space there with this big pencil I've got. Let's... 1, 2, 3. That's okay. Again, we'll detail this later. I just want to kind of look like we have her armor and outfit blocked in enough, because right now I feel like parts are in there, parts are not. Now parts are. I don't know if we'll need to draw the... Maybe we can still draw the rings like down here. I don't know if that looks stupid. Kind of does. Let's not have the rings at all and say we did. If we did at all, I feel like they'd have to be up here rather than down on bottom. I think up high would look better. Yeah, that looks better for breaking the silhouette. And then her leg, I didn't really do very well, but she's got... I actually don't know what I have drawn here. Sometimes when you draw a lot and then you look back, like, I don't remember what I was sketching in. I've changed things too many times. So let's erase whatever the heck is here on the leg because it's ugly. Nobody knows. Nobody has to see it. Okay. Blocking this in, then I'm out. So let's see. We've got 1 strap on the leg, on her left leg, right? 1 on the higher part of the thigh, right? And then that hot thigh high boot, right? Cuts up here. There's the little bit of detail in it, the lip, and then there's like the cool pattern. This is the pattern, right? This is totally the pattern of her leg. Okay, not my favorite, but we're gonna call it there because I am super hungry, and it looks good enough for now. So we'll definitely work with this. This is not quite the design I want. I'll monkey with it some more, but she's there enough, right? You look at that. It's Psylocke. I'll add some cool butterfly thingies. I know I gave her purple hair. She doesn't have the purple hair in this. I know it's black, but for the sake of sketching things in, I used purple. So deal with it. Sue me. Don't sue me, please. But yeah. So today we looked more at the female anatomy. We worked with Psylocke a bit. We chatted about random stuff as per usual. But I think it turned out all right for now. Like I said, we've got my back burner piece that I was working on right now was my Monster Hunter piece, right? So I'm working on her when I've got time, right? But trying a little bit more like playing with how I want to render right now. Like I keep changing how I'm rendering, right? Every day is a new render. Like this was the other day, this was the day before. Like I'm all over the place, and that's okay. But I am liking this piece because it feels more me with like the heavy lines and the shadows with a cross hatching. But so we'll probably do something similar with Psylocke. For now, though, this is just the sketch in there. As usual, I got to get a thumbnail so I'll get that butt real big, right? Booties. Wrong way. Big old cheeks. But yeah, so I'm going to go grab something for lunch. Thank you guys for everybody that joined. Hope you guys have a good start to your week and your week continues to be great. I will be back as per usual Wednesday, 10:30 Central Time. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more drawn on my end so that when you guys come back, you can be like, wow, look at those differences. But yeah, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. As always, be kind and kick butt.